Hi, everyone.
Hello. Today we're going to talk about constant criticism and blame. And I want to start with constant criticism first. So, what does constant criticism actually mean? It means that if I'm constantly criticizing him,
Yeah.
I'm looking for everything that he does wrong. And that ties into blame because if I'm blaming him for constantly doing something wrong, then that means all of my focus is turned on him. So,
Not only that, but it's focused, but it's negative focused.
negative focus.
And to start with, I don't do anything wrong. That's the first thing. I make mistake, but I never do anything wrong
That's one of
because
his word plays.
yes. And the reason do I say that is because for me, wrong it's something was done in purpose. Wrong it's somebody who's going to hit somebody. No, I don't do anything with the intention to hurt. So I make a lot of mistake. But as she said, you you find everything that I'm not doing right, and you think also I'm doing in purpose. And I do the same thing. Let's make that clear. It's not only her. I'm doing the same thing.
Well, constant criticism, let's look at what is actually happening underneath the surface. If I'm looking at something that I think that he's doing that I'm not happy with, I need to ask myself first, why am I not happy with that? So,
Yeah.
a lot of times it comes from false beliefs that I've been holding that I gathered when I was a kid. So, most of us learn who our personalities are shaped like by the time we're 3 or 5 years old. And we pick up our family patterns. And if we have a family pattern that's playing in my family and his family does something totally different, well, there's going to be a clash there. And it's going
For
to
sure.
be a source for me to complain about how you do things, as opposed to looking at myself and saying, why can't I embrace how he does this? So that would
Yes.
be a
Yes.
criticism.
You know, and when we say criticism is also associated with it is blame. There are blames, and blames. I think that the worst blame that my that Laura used to do, it was so annoying, and it was so bad. Is when I would do something, a mistake, or and I realized I made a mistake, and rather than say, "Well, I'm surprised you did this because I don't like it," no, she said, "Why did you do this?"
That wasn't a blame.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
a
yeah.
criticism.
No, no, no.
Those are two different
Why did
things.
you do this? Well, I didn't do it in purpose, okay? And so that's the worst. When you say, "Why did you do this?" Okay? So,
I didn't know that that bothered
oh
you.
well, yeah, because I didn't do that with the intention to hurt. I did that because I made a mistake. I whatever it is, you know. So, and blame the person for something. My dad was very high disciplined man, and my dad, if we were drinking a glass of water and we put it down on the wall on the table and the glass of water will drop will fall, oh my god, that would be the end of the world, and my dad would be so mad until I said, dad, this is just a glass who fell on the table. Now I was 16 years old when I started saying that to him, not 5 years old or 10 or 12.
So I think there is a difference between blame and criticism, and I think they feed into each other. But I
Yes,
think
yes.
I think criticism is when you look at someone and you critique what they're doing because they wouldn't do it like the way
That's
you
right,
would do it.
that's right, that's right.
However, blame is when you say you did this to me.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more, blaming is a lot more vehement and there's a lot more poison, I think, in blame
Wow,
than criticism.
that's wow. That's yes. That's when you start to use some bad language in blame. So blame is when you start to use bad language because you blame the person for that person did.
And I want to talk
Yeah.
about blame too. Blame, whenever you actually do blame someone, there's usually a festering type of really acidic, acrid feeling inside
Yeah.
that is like you feel helpless to change anything inside of yourself and you feel trapped, so you have to blame someone else. And you point that finger when you don't realize you have three fingers pointing back at you.
Yes.
So
Now,
why would you want to feel that way in the first place? And people will say, well, I don't want to feel that way. That's why I'm blaming them.
yeah.
So they can change so I can feel better. Well, you're handing your power away.
Think
Only
think
you
of
can make yourself feel better.
think,
Sorry.
think about it a little bit different. No, no, my sweet baby. Think about it a little bit different. Think about that when you blame somebody, you're actually not taking responsibility for the fact that something, whatever the situation was, happened. Because a lot of time there's not only 100% fault from somebody. There's always 40, 60, 50, 50, 30, 70. Doesn't really matter. The fact is there's never 100%. So rather than blaming, if you try to take understand what responsibility you have in the situation, that you realize that you don't have to blame anymore. You just discussed about it. You have a discussion about it, and you say, okay, I'm not going to blame you for it, but I don't understand.
And one of the ways to help you have that discussion is whenever we're talking about this kind of blaming has a root emotional cause. So if you can remove that emotional cause and look at the situation objectively, then ask yourself if you still have the need to blame. Now, it could be like you took something and put it somewhere, and I'm like, you did that. I can't believe you did that. That's a blame. I'm blaming you for moving that. Well, why am I so emotionally distraught over you moving that? First of all. And secondly, if you moved something and I was like, you did that, I'm just informing you of what you did. I'm not actually blaming you. So blame has an emotional core underneath it. And anytime you blame someone for something, you need to look inside yourself and clear up that toxic mess.
Yeah. And I tell you what, she's the best for this. Because here what will happen. She will go somewhere and she will say, oh, I have to go. And she'll say, what did you do with my car key? And I say, I didn't take your car key. Yes, you did. Somebody touched my car key because it's not in the place where it's supposed to be. And I said, well, don't you think that can be you? No, I don't do things like this. I always put the car key where it's supposed to be. And and 90% of the time, she's the one who left it in the car or bring it with her in the kitchen, and everything. And so...
This was how I used to be.
Yes, exactly. But that's so funny because she used to do that all the time. And now I try to be sure that when she's coming back, the key is back where it was, so like that we avoid this kind of conflict.
But yeah, let's take that situation.
Yeah.
Because that was before I was able to look inside and see what was going on with me. So I'd have to blame him for my problem. He moved the key. And if I moved the key, what does that say about me? That says that, oh crap, I made a mistake. I was wrong. Why does it feel so bad to be wrong? And what kind of belief systems am I holding that would make me reach out to my partner in an unloving way like that in the very first place, instead of just calming down and saying, hey, do I really need to meet the outer expectations of society or the agenda that I had on my mind? Or do I need to slow down and find the loving core within myself, the person that I know myself to be, so that I can see my partner clearly and see myself clearly too, and see the situation clearly? Because clarity, slowing down, coming back to who you truly are, acknowledging who your partner truly is the key to a good relationship. You have everything you need to have a good relationship in what I just said.
Did you take notes? Right? That's the reason, you can rewind on the video, and push. Okay. So we hope you understood what is it about criticism and blaming, because they are major in relationship and they can escalate to big fight. All right?
Thank you. No, I'm good. Like and subscribe, please.